Hello. I am definitely not wearing anything around my neck, and stuff has happened. So what's up? Donald Trump, who once bragged about having fewer tall buildings to compete with after 9/11, has been arrested. He flew to New York where he walked into a place and they arrested him and charged him with 34 counts of falsifying business documents. The arrest was covered by virtually every camera on planet Earth, and that's too much. If you want to be a smarty pants on this, there are actually 2 women involved in terms of hush money cover-up stuff, and specifically, he is not being charged for the cover-up. He's being charged for covering up the cover-up. Yeah. Anyway, he pled not guilty and then went home. So, if we're gonna be in the politics space talking about dumb bullshit, let's talk about some far more dumb bullshit going on in Tennessee. Here is what happened. 1, a bunch of gun violence happened in Tennessee. 2, a bunch of students went to the state house and protested for better gun control. 3, some Democrats stood with those students. 4, Republicans called that an insurrection. And 5, Republicans are now trying to force those Democrats out of the state house. Like, first locked them out and now trying to legally expel them from the state house. Because the right thing to do when a bunch of literal children come to you from your state asking you for help is to kick their representatives out of the vote. Very cool and healthy democracy we have here. Totally not overrun with literal fascists. Speaking of which, the children were chanting fascists at the fascists, so that rules. But what doesn't rule is that children had to chant fascists at fascists. Oh hey, a regulatory body holding a company to a higher standard. In the EU. If you own a Nintendo Switch, you probably are aware of Joy-Cons, the controllers that come attached to the Switch that can be detached and whatnot. Joy-Cons infamously have a horrible drift problem. Like, the control sticks just, it's bad. Nintendo sold, like, what, hundreds of millions of these consoles or whatever, and, like, all of the Joy-Cons will break. And they've been like in lawsuits over this before, and they've been repairing them and whatnot, but the EU Commission reached out to Nintendo and was like, hey, you gotta make good on this, like for realsies though. In response, Nintendo is now saying that they will repair Joy-Cons free of charge forever. Like past the legal warranty. This is really cool, but also Nintendo like swore up and down for a long time that this wasn't a real issue. Okay, but science though. Someone smarter than me, expand on this, because this is just cool words and I'm excited about it. We did science. Are you aware of the double slit experiment? The experiment with like quantum physics where you like shine a light through 2 parallel slits and we can prove that light is both particles and waves? If not, bear with me. So we did that experiment, but apparently like with time. Like we proved like quantum diffraction wave stuff with time instead of space? Unclear. Let me continue. Basically, some scientists led by a PhD student named Romain Tirole? Romain Tirole. Sorry if I butchered that. You're really smart. Anyway, they used a metamaterial, which is a thing, and this metamaterial is able to be manipulated at ridiculous speeds, like femtoseconds. Like a quantity of time in which like physics breaks down. And so they manipulated this material and then shined light at it and measured refractions from it and basically got like a similar pattern with the spatial wave stuff, but with time. I don't know what this means. But it's really cool. Like, I read about, like, time diffusion, and, like, yo, I'll read more about time diffusion. That's a nice change of pace. Back to consumer technology news. VR is not actually doing as well among teens as you may think. A poll came out recently that showed that while 30% of polled teens owned a VR headset, only 4% of them used it daily, and only 12% used it even weekly. This is compared to 87% that had an iPhone. VR is, like, still cool and all, and like, that's neat. But maybe we should stop pushing the notion that we'll all be living in VR within the decade. Rapid fire. After an election last night, the Wisconsin Supreme Court now is going to have a leftish, in air quotes, leaning majority, and that might mean that they're not going to have abortion bans and horrible gerrymandering anymore. Johnson & Johnson, a family company, is going to be paying out $9 billion to settle talcum powder-related lawsuits. Finland joined NATO. The creator of Settlers of Catan has unfortunately passed away, so go get resources. TikTok has been fined a frankly paltry $15 million for mishandling children's privacy in the UK. If you are in the United States South or Midwest, be on the lookout this week for some more extreme severe weather events. And finally for today, the former chief of staff of former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan is dead after going on the run from the FBI for a fraud investigation. Cool. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Stuff Keeps Happening. Head to stuffkeepshappening.online for sources, bonus content, and a full water bottle just filled to the brim with ice cold milk. My name is Endeavorance. I'll be back on Friday. Take care and be well.